Hi, Confederate socialist. I'm not really up on, what your real name is or this and that. And your additive to my thoughts is this the word Archon and the term intersubjective. You've even talked about it being standardized at one point, or a standard intersubjective. And you and I, according to Brain Police 2, one video that he made an association between the two of us and reign of, oh, I forget what he changed his name to, but he's got these new videos out and he's trying to deconstruct Steph Bot himself. He invited us to be together on language discussion that he was trying to put to, he was putting together, but it was just the two of you. And I think he abandoned the series. Anyway, I think it's interesting that you and that people on YouTube don't like the idea of a top-down approach, and you're calling it the Arcon. And originally, I thought that what you meant by intersubjectivity, which I have not really a problem with, but I have some problems with it. But I'm going to go into that later. This last video that you put up, it does, it seems like you're making a good criticism, but it also seems as if what you're referring to as the Archon coming from the top down is actually not really a lie as much as it is like recognizing longitude scales on a planet. And I will say that you're more in an equatorial approach, using the word approach like you did for lack of a better word. But you're in an equatorial approach, and so you think that the individuals who, I guess you could say, make a narrowing narrative of their own central thema as being predominantly less emergent and less descriptive of what you're saying is, descriptive of an emergent paradigm or descriptive of an emergent event, like the car showing up and the benefits being described, and so it outpaces the horse. It becomes the new replacement for it, and as opposed to the Archon, which you're saying is going to demand this. And the thing about this that I think is really odd to me, and I'm glad you bring this up, is that the Archon would be like, to me, it's like a pole, the South Pole or the North Pole on a planet. But I'm losing my train of thought here. Scratch that, erase that. Let me think. Think. What were you going at in that video? Just saw it once, just a few minutes ago. And what were you saying? Oh, yeah. Okay, top-down approach. Yeah, my argument still with language, the problem with Stefan Molyneux, the problem with anarchists. I mean, I don't like statists because they're antagonists against the equatorial people. But the equatorial people are just running around the equator. And so that's the area that I put you, and I put Venom Fein X up here on the North Pole, so to speak. But the thing is I still think that the language itself, that religion is emergent from the ability to speak, meaning the ability to stand on a flat ground and then recognize it's a globe, and then recognize it has an orbit, and recognize the difference between longitude and latitude, and recognize that your definition of the Archon, your definition of this Archon is simply people that live more closely to a narrowing point within the narrative that defines them as being predominantly more predominant than what it is you want to say is an emergent fact about the world. Now, maybe this is an anachronistic view on my point. Maybe I'm maintaining an anachronistic paradigm in order to even discuss this with you. But nevertheless, it's my expression, and the good thing about YouTube is that it's recording everything that I'm saying. And so as long as it's not privatized, and as long as I don't delete it, or as long as other people maintain it or other people care, it's got a point to it. And so my notion here is that anarchists like the equator. They like the freedom of it. The primitivists are right on the equator. But the state comes about as you progress closer to a pole. Of course, this is a metaphor, and even though Canada has a huge impression via YouTube onto the American psyche, which just simply is a note to me about culture and about pockets of culture and psychics of thought. And there was once this author who wrote a book called The City in Which I Love You, or The City I Love You In. No, it was The City From Which I Love You, I think. I'll have to Google it again. It's been a long time. Read it a few years back. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling. I guess my deal with your whole intersubjective thing is that it's okay, but that the standardization of the intersubjective, the idea that if you read something, you're going to apprehend a knowledge, you're going to have an aspect to it, and you're calling this aspect as it is common to mine, the intersubjective nature within a community or a group of speaking individuals. But this is a circle. You'll call it an intra circle of knowledge, where we can have these circles with other language speakers. But there is a meta-narrative to the intrasubjective. Now, anyway, I'm going off. I'm babbling, which I'm okay with. I'm kind of giddy. Here, and I'm not certain why exactly, because this is just one of these ramblings. Anyway, but the whole thing is that intuitively, the idea of an intersubjective would be an anti-statist idea. But I will say, if you rotate the orbit of that thought, you will see that there is no intersubjective. Everything that I am, that I say that I am, is an expression outward for the next person to witness. I must take an expression and an interaction with the expression, which is something ex, not in intersubjective. You want to say it spawns from, like Steph bought, a universal preferable behavior, which is to say the lowest common denominator of what makes all humans humans. But then if you're going to believe in evolution, and you're going to believe in different species or different tribes or different things, then different entities are going to have different needs. But if you don't believe in that, then why not just turn your focus to the Archon, which must also describe what is going on in the world, and note it, and then carry on with your own business. You're kind of coming across all high-minded and shit, and I mean, it's cool. But you have a shitload of videos, and you have like 267 views on that last one, which, man, making your way in the world. I tell you. Anyway, I'm going to leave this one as this.